Yeah. So did you think of an issue that you wanted to talk about?
Sure, yeah. I didn't think a lot about it though.
Okay, well that's fine. We can think about it together.
Yeah. I think something along the lines of I'm working too much right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're working too much.
Yeah, and I think it's leading to me having less capacity in other places, you know. And you know, it's like I have less emotional capacity for all of my relationships, especially for the ones that I really care about, like with my cousins, with my girlfriend, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it's only for a season, but I also don't want to get caught up in it too and like make it a thing, you know, make it a pattern.
Yeah. So you're noticing that you've had less emotional capacity for the relationships you care about?
Yeah, right. And especially like, yeah, I just feel like I haven't been able to get home from work and I just want to lay down by myself for a while, you know? Yeah. And, like, people want to talk to me or, you know, say nice things and I just don't really want to respond that much.
Yeah. You find yourself withdrawing or wanting to go be alone instead of wanting to engage with them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So you're hopeful that this will not be forever, or that this will be for a season?
Yeah, I am. Just with the house, the way it is. Once that's gone, I think I'm pretty confident that it'll be back to, when I say back to normal, but, you know, I guess baseline. It definitely was that way before this. It's, you know, I'd come home and watch a TV show or something, and now I pretty much just do something. Work in the garage or, you know, whatever. I think it definitely also, it's bad because it cuts into the worst part about it really is it cuts into my time with the Lord. And that it, you know, if I don't have that, then it really makes me withdraw and am less open to everything. You know, it's one of the first signs, I think, that you're too busy or that you're too cut off from the Lord is that you just don't have the capacity to give anywhere else. So.
Yeah. So you're noticing that you've had less time for both your friends, like your cousins, and your girlfriend, me, and also the Lord.
Yeah, right.
And they all are connected to not having time. Or they're all connected to each other, it seems.
Yeah, they are. Seems like they're all connected for sure. And yeah, more so just, it's a cycle. The less connected you feel, the less you feel like connecting, and then the more work you do, the less you connect, and then you feel like, I don't know, yeah, feels itself.
Yeah, it's like a downward cycle, kind of, or
Yeah.
downward spiral into becoming more isolated.
Yeah.
And less focused on the relationships that matter to you most.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I do have a trip coming up though, so that'll be really nice.
Yeah, a break from work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of work. A lot of people want their stuff.
Yeah.
So, but they can all wait. They can be whatever they need to be.
Right. You're willing to let them feel whatever that comes up while you're gone, so you can have a break.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you mentioned that you come home and feel kind of like just collapsing on the ground and not doing anything or not connecting with anyone. But from what I've talked to you about in the past, that's not typically what happens. Like, you normally have something to do after work, it sounds like.
Oh, yeah.
Like a project.
I do have something to do after work, but I don't feel like doing it.
Right.
All the time. And I think it's sometimes doing that work though is an escape. Like it takes more energy to sit down and talk with somebody than it does to go out and pick rocks out of the yard, you know, or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's the emotional weight or the emotional drainage that really is the big deal.
Yeah. It costs you less to go and do a project with your hands than it does to talk with people or invest in relationships when you're so exhausted already from everything you've had going on.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it does. It feels like it costs more. It takes more energy.
Right. But on the other hand, it also costs you more in terms of your relationships when you choose to do that consistently.
Yeah, in the long run, it's not beneficial. It's more detrimental to everything.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
that's definitely true.
but it sounds like you are a really hardworking and resilient person. Because how long would you say this has been feeling this way, or feeling so costly for you to engage in your relationships?
It started probably, I don't know, maybe halfway through this year till now, or maybe it started earlier this year, I'd say.
Okay.
Mostly. Last year when we were working on the house, and starting it, I feel like I had the capacity for a while, and I kind of wrote it out or something, and then it just wore away after a while of non-stop things to do.
Right.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It started after, it just it slowly progressed to this, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So, like, when you say it, do you mean like the relational, like bank account kind of that you've had, or your energy in terms of what was wearing away?
Yeah, it felt like the emotional bank account, like the emotional, storage.
Your emotional capacity
Was getting, eaten away. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I had more time last year or something. Maybe I did. It was maybe less busy. Now it just feels like there's a lot of stuff to do.
Sure.
Or maybe it's because I'm living here and it's like, I don't know. Maybe that's why.
Because you're always around it, living where you have a lot of projects.
Yeah, that could be. It could be because I usually found it pretty easy to detach from work. When I left work, I'd feel like, oh, that's the end of it, that's the day, and then I didn't feel stressed out by work, hardly ever, even though it was busy. And now I'm feeling more stressed out by work. I think it has to do with being more stressed out at home, probably.
Yeah. There's just less of you to go around.
Yeah, right.
Or more pulling at your attention when you're at home now versus before that wasn't a factor.
Yeah, right.
Right. And your living situation has changed in the last year.
Yeah. Right.
Like you're living with people now versus your parents.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. It is probably harder. It's harder I never lived with them before, and it's pretty much the first time I've lived with somebody who I don't automatically get along with. I mean, I get along with them just fine, but
right. You've never lived with them before.
Right. Yeah. We don't have the connection that has been forged with all of the other people I've ever lived with.
Yeah, your family.
Yeah.
Your family of origin, I guess.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So now you have projects at home, and you also have some relationships that are really important to you that are also at home and are not as naturally easy as previous relationships.
Yeah, that's true. They aren't as easy. And then I feel like when I have to do something, when I have to work on the yard or whatever, I feel like it's just time taken away from time that I could be spent investing in those relationships, which is like why I wanted to have them here.
Right.
And so that makes it harder, feeling like I don't have the energy, the capacity to do that. And because I literally have stuff to do too. But either way, it just makes me feel almost guilty that I can't, invest there.
Right. So you feel guilty no matter what you choose. If you choose to spend time with them, you feel guilty you're not doing projects. And if you choose to do projects and make progress on your house, you feel guilty that you're not spending time with the people that you invited to live with you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
Mm.
I do.
Yeah. That's an exhausting emotion to feel a lot of the time. To feel guilty.
Yeah, that's true. It is.
Yeah. So it sounds like that those things have changed in the last year, your living situation and the availability of having to work or being able to work at home now that you live where all your projects are. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it is. It's changed.
Yeah. What would you say are some like strengths that you've relied on that have gotten you through this season so far?
Strengths of my own or what?
Yeah, of your own character.
Oh, yeah, I think my dad and my mom did a good job of kind of pushing me to build a good work ethic when I was young.
Mm-hmm.
And so that helps. That, you know, I feel a sense of accomplishment by doing things anyway, so that's a positive. And then, you know, that helps me get through. I also think that just knowing that there's an end
Mm-hmm.
to it also helps. And then knowing that I made the decision to do this too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I can't point any fingers or anything, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, you know, outside of myself, well, I know that even anything that this brings isn't really the end of it all anyways. Like, there's more to it. I mean, maybe part of it is building relationships. That is eternal. It's a big deal. But yeah, I don't know. I think also other things have helped too. Like my girlfriend has helped quite a bit. I'd say that's helped me get through it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. And my parents are great too, because they never push me to do it. They always ask if I want to.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they're understanding when I don't. I've never, you know, anything that I've felt like, if I've ever felt guilty for not doing any of that, it's not because of them, or at least it shouldn't be because of them, because they never, like, say you should be doing this or something.
Mm-hmm.
They always ask. So.
Yeah. It sounds like you have a lot of really awesome resources that have helped you get through this. Like your work ethic and some core relationships and
Yeah.
yeah.
I'd say so.
Yeah. And remembering that this is just a season, that there's an end in sight, and and that your relationships with your cousins matter now, but also you have hopefully eternity to
that's true.
Is that what you were saying, or maybe I misunderstood that?
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't necessarily what I was saying, but that is true too. But I think also, building relationships with them and with other people is important now and has eternal implications.
Yeah, right.
You know?
This time that you get to spend with them is significant eternally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And that might only get, who knows, another half a year or something. So.
Right. So you're feeling a time crunch in some ways to make the most of your time with them. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I want to wrap back to something you mentioned earlier, which was that the worst part about all of this was that you felt like it ate into your time with the Lord, and that was kind of the root of the way it impacted all the rest of your relationships and your feelings about spending time with other people.
Yeah. What about it?
I'm wondering how I don't know what to say.
How it affects it.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you could tell me more about how that impacts the way that you interact with the world. That's what I want to say.
I think it's because, that's where I get filled up, or at least it should be. And it, I did tonight, actually. I did. When I got home after work, I went and laid down for a little bit and prayed. And that actually really helped. I felt like I had more patience and more capacity tonight than I did yesterday and the day before. And so, I think that definitely helped. I think it's like, you can't give anything if you're not getting something to kind of,
Yeah.
if you're not being filled somewhere, you can't empty yourself into the things. So I think it's definitely an issue. I don't know how people would ever do it. Like, knowing that there's something more, or being connected to God. Like, how do you have enough capacity to do any of the things that you need to do?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And where do your resources come from if you're not connected to that source of unlimited supply and love?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you feel a lot more connected and filled up and able to engage when you have been filled up by the Lord.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
What made you decide to pray tonight?
Because I knew that I needed it, kind of. Which I think is a good thing. I think to know that you are in need is often how you, I mean, that's how you get saved anyways. You recognize that you are in need. And I think that's probably how you grow in the Christian life too, is just to become more aware of how needy you actually are. And like, so challenging times like this are good. They're character building. If you run to the right place, if you recognize the source of all your strength, and recognize that what happens if you don't run to that. So yeah, these times there's a positive thing about this, I guess, is that it's just building character. But yeah,
Building that
still
muscle
hard.
of dependency and realizing what you need and how you need to receive help.
Yeah, right.
It is still hard though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm proud of you for doing that.
Thank you.
Rolling my eyes is not a micro skill.
Sure. It
Yeah.
could work.
Do you think? I'll do that to you from now on.
Alright. From now on, like you haven't before.
Yeah. I'm gonna turn this off. I don't have to post